Hello, I'm Jeff Stanley with Standley Handcrafted, and today we're going to be talking about Soy 464 and is it worth it? Now, this is something that came up recently. I was talking to somebody from the DIY candle group, and we were going over, I was helping her out, trying to get her soy to come out nice, and going through the normal stuff that people go through with soy, not getting a hot throw, not getting really a cold throw, the mixing wasn't going well. And after going back and forth, and she finally nailed the candle and got it looking really nice, but it eventually came to the question, why do people choose soy? Like having that many problems, why is soy worth it, or is soy really worth it? So I thought that would be a good video to go into and kind of go into the pros and cons of soy. I haven't actually done a full review on soy yet, which I really need to do. And I've got a couple more wax reviews that I'm gonna throw up on here also. But basically I wanted to talk about that, and is soy really worth it? Now, of course, this is gonna come down to personal preference no matter what I say, even pros, cons, anything like that. It definitely comes down to personal preference. So something that I don't like in soy, somebody may actually like in soy or not mind in soy. So a lot of what I say can be taken with a grain of salt, and it's more of an observation or just kind of my own personal thoughts on 464. Now, of course, if you don't know much about soy, it's GB464. It's made by a company, I believe it's AAK, who bought the Golden brands out, and they make it now. You can get it pretty much at any supplier website, Candle Science, Lone Star, Nature's Garden, anything like that. You can get it everywhere. And it's a very nice wax. It's got a lot of good qualities to it. It is soy, so if you want to label the, if you want to put the clean burning label on it, you can. Naturally, I guess you could call it a natural product also, although there is a process that it goes through, so it goes back and forth on whether or not you can call it natural or unnatural. It is a soy product, so you can at least call it natural in that respect. But then again, it does go through a process, so a lot of people don't like to call it 100% natural. But dealing with soy, some of the pros about it is it holds a lot of fragrance. It looks really nice. Soy comes in, see if I can see that right there. It comes in a flake form, so it's incredibly easy to use. It's easy to weigh. I mean, you pull the flakes out. There isn't an easier wax to deal with when you're weighing it out, putting it into the melting pitcher and everything like that. And then of course, when it's done, it does look nice also. It's a nice, I wouldn't say it's a bright white. It doesn't get as bright as like the Joy wax or anything like that. I wouldn't call it an off-white like the 6006, but it is a very nice looking wax. So when it comes down to it, the clean and natural tag, the clean burning, easy to work with, it looks nice when it's done. What are the cons? So a lot of the issues that you're gonna run into with soy are gonna be some of the way that some of the tops smooth out, or you don't get a lot of sinking with 464, but you will get it with certain fragrances. This one here is Plumeria. It actually went across the top nice and smooth. It was a single pour. That's another good, another pro for soy, is it's a single pour. Whereas like the 6006, you're gonna get sinkholes and you're gonna have to reheat those up or do a second pour to fill in the sinkholes. Whereas 464, you're not really gonna get that too much. But where you do run into problems is some fragrances will create kind of like craters all over the top. You can also get some frosting over the top where it looks like a kind of a white powdery haze over that. So it can look a little, I wouldn't call it ugly, but it definitely isn't pleasing sometimes, and the wrong person picking that up may think that something's wrong with the candle. And probably the biggest con that soy has is the hot throw. Now, you can get a good hot throw from soy, but it's one of those waxes that you're gonna have to work with quite a bit to get that hot throw. It's not a wax that I recommend to beginners because it can be frustrating, because dealing with all those things, the uneven tops, the cratered tops, the frosting, or anything like that, when you light the candle and it doesn't smell, that can be incredibly frustrating for a first-time candle maker. But once you get soy down, it does become a nice wax to work with. You can get a nice throw from it. You're not going to get as strong of a hot throw as you will with straight paraffins, even though some people claim they get a really strong hot throw from it. I don't think I've ever smelled a soy candle that's been as strong as like a 4627 7 or a paraffin like that. You're gonna get a much stronger candle from a paraffin. Now you can get additives to put in soy wax, but if you wanna keep it under the kind of a clean and natural category, you usually stay away from that. Vybar is an additive that a lot of people put in candles, and it'll help you get a stronger hot throw. So if you wanna go that route, keep it with soy and you don't mind an additive, Vybar and stearic acid are a good one to throw in there. But again, the hot throw is a big issue, and that's probably one of the biggest things with soy and probably the biggest con overall. And dealing with that can be extremely frustrating. There's a lot of different methods out there. Most manufacturers will tell you to heat the wax all the way up to 180, 185, and then add your oils from 180 down to 170. Anywhere in that range, let it cool down. You can pour at 170 and down. You can pour lower to get a little bit better glass adhesion. But even following those temperatures depending on the batch of soy that you have, you may not get much of a hot throw out of that. And that's another con that soy has, is the consistency in the batches isn't always the same, where something like a 6006 or the paraffins or anything like that, I've never had a bad batch of 6006. It has performed extremely well every single time I've used it, and I've been using it for several years now. Whereas 464 is definitely known for having bad batches, so much to the point where major websites will put notifications on their pages to say we're having issues with 464, so please buy at your own risk, basically. And that can happen. So that's probably the biggest con with 464. And I know last year, some of the websites, not some of the websites, but the manufacturers that were shipping out soy probably went through a 3-month period where soy, people were having really big issues with it, and a lot of people were switching. So having said all that, the pros, the cons, really brought up the question, is soy worth it? And I don't typically use soy, but I would still lean on the answer that soy is definitely worth it. I like 464. I don't use it that much just because I like the strong hot throw from a paraffin or the 6006, but soy is actually a really nice wax to work with when you get it right. And that's probably the biggest thing. So when you get a good batch, when you mix it properly, when you get a nice hot throw, when you get a top that's nice and smooth, soy is probably one of the easiest ones to sell because of that soy name tag. The soy candle will sell itself, and that's probably the biggest pro that I can give to 464. Anybody walking up to the counter or up to your market table or your store or anything like that, most people will want the cleanest burning candle, or if they don't know anything about candles, if you tell them that it's a naturally made soy product or however you label it, it's an easy sell. And not to mention, there is a huge growing crowd of people out there that want the natural, the quote unquote natural soy products. So there's a lot of people that will come out and they specifically look for the soy candle. So that's probably the biggest pro I can give you right there, is it almost sells itself. So if you can get over all that, you get good batches. Even if you don't get the smooth tops, soy is still a very good wax. And a lot of people know that when they buy soy candles, some of the tops, again, they get the frosting over the top. It's a little powdery. It's just kind of a natural look, or kind of an expected look for some soy candles. Now, I haven't fully reviewed this one, but it definitely stays up towards the top of the review. I kind of created a chart for the wax I did way back when. I've got to go through and redo the scoring a little bit on that one because I'm not incredibly happy with it. There's a couple more categories I want to add. But soy or 464 definitely goes to the top of that list. It's not at the top of my personal list, but it is a very good wax that scores really high based on whatever imaginary score that I gave it. But some of those issues do bring it down. The hot throw, the uneven tops, the inconsistent batches, those are all things that you want to think about when you get into soy. And like I said earlier in the video, it's not a beginner wax. You can get very lucky with it. I started using soy right off the bat. I messed up my first batch and then basically redid it, and within 2 or 3 batches I had a nice hot throw from it. But there are people who have been working with it for 3 or 4 months, and there's a lot of people in the DIY Facebook group right now that are talking about it, and they're ready to give up and move on to a different wax because of those issues. So again, like I said, I've got a full review of this wax that'll be up real soon. I'm hoping to do it. We've got the workshop coming up next weekend in Atlanta, so I'm not going to be putting it up within the next week or two, but I'm hoping 3-4 weeks out, within the month, I'm hoping to get the full GB464 soy wax review up on the channel. So I hope hope that kind of clears some things up. It was definitely a question that's been brought up previously in the past, and then over the last week, having somebody bring it up again, it definitely prompted the video and something that I wanted to talk about. So I hope that was informative. I hope it made sense. Please, if you disagree with anything that I said about the 464, please let me know in the comments down below. And of course, on the DIY Facebook group, we'll get into kind of further discussions on this. There are a lot of people that love this wax and may not agree with some of the things that I said about it. So I would love to hear some feedback on that one. And again, you can follow me on any of the social media platforms listed down below: Facebook, Instagram. I've got the website, my email address. So if you want to reach out to me and ask me any questions, please send them my way. And of course, I've got the link to the DIY Facebook group listed in the video description down below. So please jump over there, join the group, say hi. There's a lot of ongoing threads about anything you can think of. So please just jump in and say hi to any of them. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.